You remember the Chinese were getting beat up in California? They created an anti-hate law for the Chinese.
Bring it out.
Y'all remember that, right? How long they been doing this to us? Why isn't there no anti-hate law against black people?
Bring it out. Teach.
Why? Because it's your enemies. So let me ask you, do friends do this to friends?
Bring it out. Teach.
Remember, Anthony, this all in your question. God declared the end from the beginning. He says you're going to have to serve your enemies. Do friends do this to each other? Who are these people to us? God calls them our enemies. That's why we have to march no justice, no peace. Why do we have to fight to be 50-50? To say that we are men. You remember what happened to your ancestors during the Civil Rights Movement? What were we fighting for? To be equal. Why I gotta fight to be equal? We men. We have children, we have families. Why have to fight to be equal? Why do we have to say that we no longer 3/5 of a man? Anthony, this is your question. This is the cold truth about it, though. God says these are your enemies. Read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger.
When you hungry, who you go to? McDonald's, Costco's, Walmart, whatever place. McDonald's, with Burger King, KFC, Publix, Costco's, Popeyes. People was killing each other for the Popeyes chicken not too long ago. God says you're going to have to serve your enemies for food, read.
And in thirst,
Aquafina, Zephyr Hills, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Capri Suns, Sprite, whatever you name. God says you're going to have to go to your enemies for it. Watch this. You got water in your house, right? If they cut off the waters in your neighborhood, what you going to do about it? Could you do anything? They can't do nothing. Think about it, right? You remember the Chinese were getting beat up in California? They created an anti-hate law for the Chinese.
Bring it out.
Y'all remember that, right? How long they been doing this to us? Why isn't there no anti-hate law against black people?
Bring it out. Teach.
Why? Because it's your enemies.
Right.
You understand that? Watch this, read.
and in nakedness.
Your shirt, your pants, your socks, your sandals, your hat. God says you got to go to your enemies for it.
Right.
Damn, you could go to China and it says made in China. You could go to the Caucasians and it's made by the Caucasians. Anywhere you go to, they can make their own clothes. What about the so-called black people? Do we got our own textile factories? Matter of fact, during COVID, toilet paper, I don't know what the hell was going on with the toilet paper. What we needed toilet paper for? To wipe your nose? What was it? That shows you how they got us systematically programmed. So they throw out a propaganda and we go follow it. What do we need for toilet paper for the time of COVID? I'm still trying to figure it out. You age, you older than me. Please tell me what we need toilet paper for. But I'm saying I could have used this rag, washed it, and reused it. But what was the whole reason of us trying to stack up toilet paper? We could have used dish detergent to wash our hands. What we needed to, what was it? Hand sanitizer for. Make it make sense. God says we needed to go to our enemies in one of all things. To what? They put what we needed in our own minds. Watch this, read.
And in what of all things?
It says in one of all things. Anthony, you say you're a truck driver. To get that class CDA license, who you went to?
Bring it out.
You got children? I see you, your son. Who you had to go to have that child born? And as soon as it was born, what did they give that baby? Birth certificate, Social Security. God says you're going to have to go to your enemies in one of all things. You went to school? What school you went to? Who set up that school system for you? Matter of fact, let's get to the nitty-gritty. Your religion. Who did you go to for that?
Bring it out.
Who taught us that Jesus Christ was white? In the Bible, he's a black man.
Right. That's right.
Who taught you he had blonde hair and blue eyes? To the point where now y'all brothers blind in y'all tips. Who told y'all? Y'all know that's a curse, right? They have blonde hair?
Bring it out.
God said that's a curse. That's a sin for you to put that in your hair. God says you envy your oppressor by doing that. Who taught you that? You see, he left. He could, after he said, oh, nah, not my God, not my Jesus. That's real. Because at night when you pray, this is what's in your head.
Right.
To the point when we point at this image and say that this is the devil, it make you feel some type of way. Because you've been programmed to think that this is your God. If I step on this image, I'm telling you, somewhere in your chest, you may, oh, don't do that to my Jesus. Because we've been taught that that was God. Read it again. In one of what?
And in one of all things.
In one of everything you could think of. They taught you every religion, your education, your job, everything, clothes, food, water, everything you wanted. You had to go to them. Remember, God's saying, how do we know this is a true book, Anthony? It's proving everything we're going through.
Right.
Watch this, read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
What people had yokes of irons on their neck and serve their enemies in one of all things? Who? Everybody on this side.
Right.
Everybody, those are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. It gets more descriptive. Anthony, Craig, no, Jerry. It gets more descriptive. Devin, it gets more descriptive. Let's see. Who those nations was going to be. Next verse. Watch this.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
He says he's going to bring a nation against us from far. I'm going to use this. Move that Bible dictionary. Pick up that sign. We can put that down because they can see that. We're going to pick up this sign. Now, matter of fact, you good. Leave it right there. I want y'all to pay attention to this. He said he's going to bring a nation from far, right? We was on the west coast of Africa. They came from over here. They was all, my bad. Yeah, they was on the west coast of Africa. They came from Europe. They was already in South America because before the transatlantic slave trade, there was the sub-Saharan slave trade, and not only that, there was the Spanish Inquisition. They went to colonizing this side of the earth, which the 10 tribes of Israel. When you see Ephraim on down, they were on this side. The Native Americans, you see that's why they had the border of blue with fringes, this on their clothing. Because they were the 10 tribes of Israel that discovered this side of America first. They were already on this side. It's in the Bible how they got there. That's why, remember, how we know this is a true book. It's all throughout history books. We could bring those history books out to prove it. But those 10 tribes were already on here. The Hispanics and Native Americans. We were the 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. We were the last ones to be conquered and put in slavery and brought to the Americas. All right? So pay attention to who was going to come get us. Read.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
You got a dollar bill? Matter of fact, there's one right here. You got it back over a quarter? What's the national symbol of America? The what? The eagle.
Bring it out.
Read it again.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
He's going to get more descriptive. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Remember, how did we get those last names? We didn't understand their language. How do I have a last name that my language never would interpret as? You get what I'm saying? So he says, as swift as the eagle fly, America's symbol, the eagle. The Spanish that conquered these people on this side, the eagle. The Roman that conquered Jerusalem in 70 AD and had us flee into Africa, the eagle.
Right.
You see that? All the nations that conquered us, their symbol was the eagle.
Right.
And look, watch this, read.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
You hear that? They didn't care about the old man. They didn't care about the young man. Everybody was in the cotton fields.
That's right.
As soon as you're able to walk and you could be on next to your mother picking cotton, you was there.
Bring it out.
God says they won't care for the old. They won't care for the young.
Right.
They said that people work so bad that some of their bones near their joints crushed together. You see how bad that was? Now watch this, right? There's more on that. Jump to verse 68. Now watch this. How did we get to the Americas, Anthony? How did we get to the Americas? By ships. What type of ships? Were the ones on the ports of West Palm, Miami? Was the Carnival Cruise Line? Royal Caribbean? What type of ships? Cargo what? Slave ships. Now let's see what the Bible say. Read.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
This how serious it is. The Bible, once you read it, you ain't gonna be slow. We know how to read now. You're gonna start reading it, you're gonna be like, wait up.
Right.
He says he's gonna bring us into Egypt again. You seen any movies about Egypt? When the children of Israel were in Egypt with Moses? What were the children of Israel in Egypt doing?
Teach.
What were they, Anthony? This is your question, so I'm asking you all the questions. What were they doing? Don't worry. Exodus 1 and verse 11. Watch this. It's going to explain. You guys know, right? What were they doing in Egypt? They were slaves. You remember when we read the curse, right? Curse shall you be in the city, curse shall you be in the field. Listen to what it says, what we was doing in Egypt, and then it's going to explain what Egypt is in the next chapter. Read that.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 11.
Bring it out.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
Slave masters. That's what they did in Egypt. They set over us taskmasters. Read.
To afflict them with their burdens.
Those burdens are all types of work in the field. Read.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
Who built up America? Your ancestors.
That's right.
God says we built up treasure cities.
Right.
Ain't New York a treasure city?
Bring it out.
Who you think built up New York?
Teach.
You know the first commodity on the stock market was slaves, right?
That's right.
You were the backbone of New York. You was the backbone of America.
Right.
They went through 400 years. Not 200 years of free labor. Bro, think about this. That if I had people working for me and I never paid them for hundreds of years, never paid them, gave them the most raggedy clothes ever. I don't care if there was holes in your socks, holes in your shoes. I just fed you to keep you alive. I gave you the bare minimum to keep you alive, to keep making me money.
Right.
Make sure y'all kept on having more kids.
Right.
You understand this? Read.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
And that's what happened to us. We have a lot of kids. Watch this, read.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
You hear that? What?
With hard bondage.
What does the word bondage mean?
Bring it out.
Slavery.
Right.
He said he made them serve with rigor, with hard bondage. Meaning the type of work that we're doing, we're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
We're not supposed to be working as hard like this. We ain't supposed to be having 2, 3 jobs. One job's supposed to be able to take care of our whole family. Right. To the point where we're not even supposed to wait on Friday to get paid. We're supposed to get paid every day.
Bring it out.
Watch this, read.
In mortar and in brick.
Who does construction? Who you see up on top of these rooftops? Blacks and Hispanics.
Right. That's right.
We in the construction. We in the sewers. We're the custodians. We're the ones cleaning up their toilets.
Right.
We're the ones cooking for them.
Right.
I'm going to tell you like this. If God wanted us to kill everybody, we could have done it. We're the ones who feed them. We're the ones who take their kids to school.
Right.
But God says this warfare is not carnal. It's a spiritual warfare.
Right.
We're supposed to come back and keep his commandments.
Teach.
We ain't supposed to go load up guns because guess what? We run out of bullets. Who we have to go to get our bullets? Remember, we have to go to them in one of our things. They cut off our water. How we going to drink? If they don't want to sell us nothing, how we going to eat? You get what I'm saying? So we can't deal like that. We can't deal. We have to deal different because they got us in check right now.
What is nation? Nation is men leading by example.